like to talk about games and gamification. Definitions include gamification, which is adding game elements to things that aren't games. This uses rewards, recognition, and motivational programs to engage students. The game design principles included are intended to motivate and inspire learners, and gamification builds on existing infrastructure within a lesson. Simulation includes setting rules with an attempt to recreate real-world scenarios. This doesn't have to be game-like, but it is based on a recreation of systems. Games themselves are a little different. They focus on playing and winning, and they enhance the learning experience, but they exist separately from the lesson. And all three exist on a continuum. They can be used simultaneously, or they can be used separate from each other. There are a lot of trends and issues surrounding gamification, two trends of which are challenges and incentives. Challenges need to be data conscious, learner centric, and multi-skilled. When teachers implement challenges, they need to make sure that their implementation is data-backed activity and in-depth analysis tracking based so that they can see if the gamification is effective. Incentives are also an important part of gamification. Educators should be cognizant that they foster learning and not addictive behavior, and educators can tailor game experiences to help meet learning objectives by activating intrinsic motivation. There are a lot of issues that exist with gamification, two of which are listed in the slide. Gamification may not be immersive or reflect actual experience. A solution can include identifying which immersion techniques work best with learning objectives, and educators can use research to get to know audience and make sure that the gamification aspects appeal to natural behavior. Gamification is also under-theorized. It evolved so rapidly that there wasn't very much careful consideration of the effectiveness before implementation in the classroom. A solution to this includes educators using a concept map or benchmarks that games need to meet before their implementation, and educators should make sure that the game fits the situation in which it exists. Implementation in the classroom with gamification can exist in a variety of ways, two of which are levels and student choice. Levels allow for scaffolded content, formative assessment, tailored progress, and grading, while student choice allows students to choose their own path. This increases interest and mirrors gaming experiences at home. Student choice also allows students to choose a method through which they learn, which can increase interest and appeal to multiple learning modalities. Student choice also empowers students and allows them to create and meet their own specific goals, and it fosters creativity, which is important in the learning experience. 3 apps that utilize gamification include Classcraft, Duolingo, and Kahoot. Classcraft engages students to live by class rules interactively. Avatars exist in groups, and their actions affect the whole class. Students can gain and lose points by following and breaking classroom rules, and rewards translate to real class activities. I like this because it inspires team building and collaboration. Duolingo is used with immersion through speaking, listening, writing, and translating scaffolded lessons. Students can see possible translations if they're lost throughout the lesson, and students can interact with others and discuss why answers are right or wrong. I use Duolingo every single day. I use it to keep up on my German, and I like that it uses both expressive and receptive language. And Kahoot is used through a colorful interface implementing music, images. It's like a game show. It can be used for vocabulary, multiplication, and geography. Students receive points for getting answers right and completing lessons faster. And I like Kahoot, but I think it relies a lot on remote memorization and extrinsic rewards. In summary, I think that gamification can be used for grammar lessons, scaffolded content, and simulation, and this is specific to my content area of English language arts. I will use gamification for grammar lessons. Something like Duolingo would be really important. I think it'd be a good lesson to kind of have in the background and would make something boring like grammar more fun. It also continues grammar education, which I think is really neglected in the high school grades. I can also use gamification with scaffolded content within reading levels and consistent goals for students who differ from one another. This kind of implements differentiated instruction. And finally, I think that simulation would be really good for literature, and it would inspire creative writing and encourage empathizing with characters. Students could also read about multiple points of view and experience multiple points of view. And I can implement student choice within a genre, and students could simulate different genres throughout the quarter, each quarter in the school year, like something from a Canyon, nonfiction, or 21st century literature book. And then here are my references.